Qnamaker is a tool that lets you quickly create a knowledge base from existing content like FAQ URLs, documents, etc., and then expose it as an endpoint, which you can then use in your bot or any other application that you might have. To see how this works, first let's take a look at an example of an FAQ page. This is the Windows software download FAQ page, and it has the commonly asked questions like what is a product key, what do I do with an ISO, so on and so forth. So let's say I want to create a knowledge base out of that FAQ content. So I first go and press the create new service tab. I give my KB a name, which is, let's say, Windows download FAQ. And now I can just simply enter the FAQ URL of that page. And in addition, I can also add files which contain FAQ content. But for this demo, let's say I just give it the URL and I press the create button. So now what's happening is the tool is fetching that HTML page from that URL, parsing it, getting the Q&A pairs and ingesting it in its index. So as you can see, it has extracted 27 Q&A pairs, and these are the Q&A pairs that it was able to extract. Now what I can do in this step is edit stuff on the fly. So I can add an alternate phrase for an existing Q&A pair, or I can add a brand new Q&A pair to this content. So let's say I want to add, let's say, how are you? And I want to respond with doing great. So these new Q&A pairs can be ingested simply by pressing the save and retrain button. So these new Q&A pairs are getting ingested, and now my KB has been updated. So the next step is to go to the test section. So here I can actually chat with my knowledge base and see the relevance of the responses. So let's say I ask it something that I added before, which is howdy. So, and as expected, it returns with hello because that's what I gave it in the previous step. Now let me ask it something from the knowledge base. Let me say something like, what is a product key? Now for this question, this is the right answer. So the matching worked perfectly. This is the right answer for that question. Let's ask it something else. Uh, what's wrong with my product key? No, now for this question, the top answer that was returned does not look that relevant. However, in this step, I have an option of choosing the right answer for this question. And these are the three matches that were the closest to this question. So the second match looks like the most relevant one for this question. So what I can do is I can just simply select the second answer and press save and retrain. Now what this means is the new Q&A pair is being updated in my knowledge base, and the next time I ask the same question, which is what's wrong with my product key, the response is what I have labeled before. So as you can see, it becomes very easy to train my knowledge base using this interface. So once I am satisfied that the relevance is correct, I also have an option to update the source of my knowledge base. So right now, like I only have one FAQ URL, I can add more URLs, or I can add or delete more files in this step, and accordingly my knowledge base keeps getting updated. So after all the creation and the training has taken place, the next step is to go ahead and publish it. I click on the publish button, but before the final publish happens, I get a chance to actually review what's getting published, because publish actually impacts your endpoint, which will impact your any application that is using that endpoint. So in this step, since this is a brand new knowledge base, I don't have anything in production. All the Q&As are being added newly, right? So I go ahead and press publish, and in addition, I can also download the diff file to see the details of what's happening. So I press publish, and that's it. So now my knowledge base has been published to the HTTP endpoint, which is nothing but a very simple post request, which has two important keys. First key is the knowledge base ID. This is auto generated for every unique knowledge base. And the second key is a subscription ID, which is very unique to your account. So a combination of these two is basically the protection you have from anyone else accessing your knowledge base. As you can see, in a few simple steps without writing any code, you can create a Q&A service. Another important feature of the Qnamaker tool is the ability to actually replay live chat logs that are hitting your production endpoint, looking at the relevance, training your model, and improving the overall quality. So let me use a simple tool like Postman to simulate live traffic that is going to hit my endpoint. So the first thing that I need to do is replace the knowledge base ID of the KB that I just created. The next thing is to actually replace the subscription key that is assigned to me by the system. And finally, I can update the question in the body of the post request. Once I have done this, when I press send, this actually hits my KB endpoint and gets a response back. So the response is in the form of a JSON with two fields. There is an answer field, which is the answer for the question, and a score, which is like the confidence level of the matching. So this is very useful to set a threshold on what you want to respond and what is probably irrelevant. So for hi, I get an hello, which is fine. Let me ask it something else. Let me ask it, what is an ISO image? So for this question, the answer looks relevant, so this works fine. Let me ask it something else. I cannot download help. So when I send this question, the response is irrelevant, right? So this is something to do with the product key, which makes no sense. So let me go back to my tool. So I'm back to my Qnamaker page. I edit the knowledge base that I just created. Now what I can do is I can go to the test section and I press download chat logs, and what you can see is the file that I download actually has the chat logs which have hit the production endpoint. So the question hi has been hit a few times before, that's why it has the top frequency, and these are the other two questions that I asked my endpoint. Now what I can do is I can choose to upload these chat logs back into the system and just simply replay them. So this is the file that I just downloaded, and I upload that, and as you can see, it automatically starts replaying those questions. So the first question is hi, which is fine. The next question, oh, so this is the first question, sorry. The next question is I cannot download help. So this looks like an irrelevant answer, right? So what I can do is I can try the second answer. Oh, and there you go. So this looks like the much better answer to this question. So I choose the second question, and similarly, the last one, what is an ISO image? This looks fine as well. So once I have replayed my chat logs and I have selected the right answer to those questions, I press save and retrain, and all the new labels are getting updated in the model. So as you can see, this feature is very useful to improve the relevance of your system over time and to make sure that your users have the best experience. Thank you.